Hi y'all, and welcome back to my side of the internet. Grab your drinky drink. Baby, we're talking about how to break the cycle of sabotage today. I was at the gym today and I was really excited because, first of all, your girl has been in the gym. She's been doing her thing, collarbones popping, muscles are growing. I'm really feeling myself, but I think it's so amazing because one of the things that has been really relevant in my life right now has been consistency, and I'm really seeing the effects of what consistency has done for me and being consistent over a long period of time. And what I mean by consistent is that it's not always like I'm doing something every single day, day in and day out, but it's that I'm having a consistent pattern and I'm really maintaining my focus on what it is that I want. I was at the gym today and I was like, wow, I was excited to come to the gym today, but I've also noticed that I've been going to the gym even when I'm not excited to go to the gym. And there's been a lot of areas in my life where even when I'm not excited and I don't have that like, oh my gosh, rah, rah kind of energy behind it, that I'm still doing the things that need to be done because not only am I so focused, but a plethora of other reasons. But I'm just really proud of myself because I'm like, whoa, there have been so many times in the last month or so, I'll say specifically, where I have been like, wow, I've never gotten past this point. I've always sabotaged before I reached this point, and now I'm in new territory. I've always sabotaged and had to start over. I've always sabotaged and given up on this dream for a little bit, and then I would get back into a cycle and again start over. And so now I'm in an area where I'm like, whoa, I feel like, you know, when you're playing a video game and you finally pass a test or you finally pass the level, the big boss on that level, and now you're on a new level, you're in new territory. That's exactly how I feel right now. And so today when I was at the gym, it got me thinking, wow, I have really broken the cycle of sabotage that I have been in for years. And not just one cycle, but multiple cycles of sabotage that I have been in for years. And when I tell you, I literally grabbed my phone right then and there and I started writing this title down because I was like, I'm going to talk about this today. We are talking about how to break the cycle of sabotage. So one of the things about this is, first of all, recognizing that you're even in a cycle of sabotage. We don't even realize it half the time. And most of the time I've come to the conclusion, or I should say, I've come to the conclusion that every time that I've realized I've been in a cycle of self-sabotage or sabotage in some sort, somebody else had to point it out to me. And I'm now in a position where I'm pretty quick to recognize these things on my own. And I recognize when I am in a cycle and like how to get out of it and all those things. But I think one of the first parts of even breaking the cycle of sabotage is recognizing that you're even in one and really assessing how the cycle is currently affecting you and really digging deeper as to why you're in that cycle. It's really wild because when you think about it, and a lot of times we think of sabotage as like a way that we hurt ourselves and harm ourselves, right? But the way that we sabotage ourselves is really ways that we protect ourselves. It comes from this place, like that's really the heart behind it. You don't, like at the end of the day, you're not so full of self-hatred that you want to ruin your life. Most of the time, you're in a cycle of self-sabotage because it's actually you subconsciously trying to either protect yourself in one way or another, or you actually like the sabotage. It benefits you in some way. And so it's really about digging deeper. I know it's crazy, but it's really about digging deeper as to what it is that is the root cause of it, right? Digging deeper as to why you are in that cycle in the first place. Is it because you're using it as a defense mechanism and you're using it to protect yourself? Or is it because you actually get something out of that sabotage? There's something that happens when you go into that cycle of sabotage that you like and that you get and that you continue to attract, whether you realize it or not. So when I think about sabotage, I always go to the example of like working out and being like living a healthier lifestyle when it comes to that, because that has been where sabotage is most prevalent for me is the cycles of like having a diet and working out on a consistent basis, and then I'll have 1 or 2 days that just kind of throw me off, and it throws me off for weeks, if not months, and then it takes me a long time to even get back into like, okay, let me get back on the wagon, right? But that same cycle is actually reflected in so many other areas of our lives. Like you just see it the most of the time when it comes to like our bodies and our physical activity, but it also shows up in your ideas, in your creative endeavors, in your business that you've been wanting to start, but that you write down all the ideas for and then you don't actually take action towards, or in the creative ideas that you have that you do all the work for, but you don't show anybody and you don't put it on display. And so this cycle of sabotage is really, like I said, it comes down to 2 things. You're either protecting yourself or you like it. And so it's really about getting to the root of it. So again, before we get into the root, we really have to recognize that we're even in the cycle. So this will show up in your, whatever the cycle is, you want to go, wait, hold on. I think this is a cycle for me. Hold on. Every time I go and I'm talking to these people, I'm talking to these guys that I really like, but then when they ask me actually out on a date, I don't show up. Or I change plans, or I find an excuse, or something always happens that stops me from going on this date. Every time that I get ready to post that YouTube video, you know, I've scripted it, I filmed it, I've edited it, but every time I get to posting the YouTube video, my laptop crashes. Or I run out of storage and I can't post it, or wait, hold on, what is this going on? Because now I have a couple YouTube videos that are on the queue that I haven't even posted, or I don't post it myself because I don't think that they're good enough. And so it's first of all recognizing the cycle that you're in and going, why am I in this cycle? Where does this come from? And asking the question, where does this stem from? And why do I allow it to happen every single time? Why do I allow it to happen? Because a lot of the times, most of the time, the cycles that you're in are actually affirming beliefs that you've either adopted or that have been programmed into you. And at the end of the day, those beliefs have kept you safe, even if they've actually hindered your progress or your progress towards your goals. And so again, getting to the root of that, like, why do I feel this way? Why does this always happen? Let's backtrack for a second. Okay, every time I'm in this phase of talking to people, I get emotionally attached to them and I get emotionally there, but I'm protected by the fact that we're talking via text or phone. I'm not having to physically show up and be responsible for their emotions or show up and show my true self every single day. And so when it comes to actually meeting them in person, I shy away from that because actually I don't want to be seen, or maybe maybe in this time you're sabotaging those things because you actually want to work on your creative endeavors and you don't actually want to be in a relationship right now, and instead you actually want to be focusing on building a business right now, but you feel like you have to be focusing on a relationship when you don't actually have to be doing those things. You know, every time I go to post this YouTube video, I want to post this YouTube video, but there's always something wrong with it. I always find something wrong with it, or some way that I can tweak it, or I, want to add more to it, or I want to take things away from it. There's always something going on. And really, I think I'm just scared of what people are going to think of me. And I, again, don't want to be seen. This is why, if you haven't seen it yet, please go take a look at my video that I created on getting over your fear of being seen, because it is something that really can control you, and a lot of times is a root to a lot of your self-sabotaging cycles have to do with being seen and being known and being truly loved for who you are. We're so afraid to be seen for who we really are because we're afraid that if people know who we really are, that they're not going to love us anyways. But in actuality, you being who you are and showing up as yourself is going to be the very thing that attracts people to you. And wouldn't you want to be loved more? Like, isn't it more fulfilling to be loved when somebody knows everything about you? When somebody knows all of your flaws, when somebody knows all of the things that you've tried to hide away from other people, they know it and they love you anyways. Like, isn't that such a beautiful thing? I digress. So when you're getting to this, you're really getting to the root of these things, and you're asking yourself these hard questions, and you're being honest with yourself about them. And there are ways that I do this is sometimes it's me talking out loud, like getting on a camera like this and talking out loud. I was filming some videos a couple days ago, actually, and it was some topics that I thought that I wanted to talk about. And in the middle of the videos, I'm like coming to these different conclusions. I'm like, oh wait, this isn't a video to post on YouTube. This is a video for myself. This is actually a video for myself of a cycle that I'm going through right now, where I'm like, that's a whole other conversation to have. But it's a cycle that I'm going through right now that I've just broken, where anytime that I had feelings for somebody, I would avoid them and I would focus my attention either on somebody else to kind of, what is it called? I forgot what it's called specifically, but it's when you deflect your emotions onto something else. So that way you don't have to really deal with the thing that's in front of you. It's just for me, it's just a way of still being emotionally unavailable. And even though I'm emotionally intelligent and I have a lot of empathy and a lot of capacity, that doesn't mean that I'm always available for emotional situations, especially romantic emotional situations. And so, like, in the middle of me filming, I had that realization. I was like, oh, wait, hold on. This is a cycle again. Like, I'm in the middle of a cycle right now. And I found it so quickly within a matter of a few days. Something that would have taken me probably months, if not years. It took me a few days for me to realize, wait, this is a cycle that I'm about to get myself into. Let me break that cycle. Actually, that's a belief that I don't need to maintain, that I don't need to hold. What's the root of this? This root of this is that I'm actually still emotionally unavailable. Okay, well, let's talk about this. Let me take this to God and let me show God this aspect of myself. I'm like, God, why am I hiding this from you? Because a lot of times when we're wanting to hide something from God, it's because we're wanting to either hold on to it which is just a lack of trust, you know? So I was like, you know what, God, I give this to you immediately. I'm so sorry. Not that I'm sorry, but, you know, like, God, I give this to you immediately, and like, show me this, show my heart in this, because one of the things that I've been praying for has been to open my heart and actually be emotionally available. And God has really been softening my heart and positioning my heart in such a way. And so it's really important for me to come to him for these things. But even the cycle of self-sabotage, that situation leaks into the way that I show up online and the way that I show up in my career and the way that I show up with my friendships. And so when you're going through this, ask yourself those questions, whether you're having to film it on a video like this that nobody ever sees but you, or you're writing it down. Writing is another incredible way that I love going to God about it, and I love writing it out, being able to see it, getting it out of my head and putting it onto paper. And then the other way that I do it is through prayer. I do all three of these things all the time. And also another way that I do is I talk it out with people that I love and that I trust and who know me. So my best friend Morgan, who's somebody that you guys will definitely see on the YouTube video, on the YouTube channel. Morgan is somebody that I love and that I trust and that knows me and recognizes patterns in me and is not afraid to call me out on it. And it's so funny because that same exact cycle that I felt like I was getting myself into when I filmed that video, I journaled about it. I left it alone and I talked to myself about it. The next time I saw her was literally yesterday. She was like, oh, and by the way, I noticed that you were in this cycle where you were deflecting your emotions onto somebody else. And I think that that's just because you are afraid to actually like somebody. So you need to go ahead and handle that. And I was like, you know what? Actually, I already took steps out of you. Thank you, though, for bringing that up. So I think with that, when it comes to the sabotage, it's like really talking it out and getting to the root of it and seeing how that benefits you. So for example, in that example, right, it actually benefits me to be emotionally unavailable, or I think that it does, right? It protects me, it keeps me safe. I've been in love, and you know, I'll tell my story on here. I pinky promise you, but for the sake of this video, I'll say this: I have been in love so deeply and emotionally available and open and just fully in love with somebody, and that was ripped away from me very quickly and very tragically. And so since then, it has been difficult for me to be emotionally available to my family, to my friends, let alone in a romantic relationship, okay? And this is, you know, over now 6 years in the making of this happening. So of me working on this, and it's just now where God has been really softening my heart, and that I even want to be emotionally available, because it was easier for me to be emotionally unavailable. It's easier for me, quote unquote, easier for me, because it feels like I'm protecting myself. It feels like I have control over something, when in actuality, I'm just not trusting God in that, right? Not trusting God with my heart, not trusting God that it's okay for me to love, and to love wholly and to love deeply. Because the thing is I have a huge capacity to love. I love my friends. I love my family. I have a huge heart, and it is actually against my nature to withhold my love. And so in this aspect where I'm holding my love away and I'm like being emotionally unavailable, it's against my nature to do that. And that is a cycle of sabotage. But the root of it is, it's rooted in, trauma and wanting me to keep myself safe, but it's also rooted in a lack of trust in God. And so I have to be able to let go of that, to literally lay it at God's feet. And I do this visually, where I'll be in prayer and I literally lay it at God's feet and I'm like, Lord, this is yours, and this is something that's for you. Everything is yours. Every part of me is yours. My heart is yours. And I don't want to leave anything. I don't want to leave anything or hide anything away from you, God. And that's one of the ways that I am able to break through these cycles of self-sabotage. And I also ask God, I'm getting emotional right now, but it's true, because I also ask God, show me the ways that I am withholding from you. Show me my heart in these situations, and show me how I can truly give this to you. And it's not something that you give one time and that's it, that's all. There's many times, especially like in the example that I'm giving you guys about my heart and my emotional availability in regards to romantic relationships, I have to give that to God every day. like it's the first time. I got to give it to him every day. And I got to release this trust to him every day. And every day, I feel like our relationships get stronger and stronger, and I'm trusting him more and more. And that's a perfect example of that. When you're moving forward, you've recognized the cycle that you're in, and you recognize what the root of it is, and you really recognize the quote unquote benefits that you have from it, right? Like, is it protecting myself? Like, what am I really benefiting from this? Do I like this? And another thing too, I'll say on that aspect too, is I actually liked being emotionally unavailable. It made me feel like I had more control. And so I would maybe go on a date here and there, and I just wouldn't actually care about the people that I'm with. And that's, again, it goes against my nature. That is just not me. I'm a caring person. I am an empathetic person. I love people and I love love. And so why would I withhold that from myself? Why would I deprive myself from that experience? Because I'm trying to control a situation. Girl, anyways. I'm like, goodness gracious. Okay, so now we're moving forward, and it's like, okay, in this situation, now that you've recognized your pattern, you've gotten to the root of it, you've really determined where is this coming from, where does this stem from, and why am I allowing this to continue to happen? Then you can go, okay, but is this what the life that I want to live? No. I don't want to live my life with this emotional unavailability. That's not what I actually want. What I really want is to be wholly and innately myself. I want to love the way that God has showed me to love. I want to love like Jesus, okay? And so in order for me to do that, I need to be emotionally available in all situations. And I need to be able to trust God in everything, in every aspect, with every part of me, in every hope, in every dream that I have. And I have to be honest with myself and say, actually, I do want to be in a loving relationship. And actually, I do want to be in a partnership that honors and glorifies God in every way. I want those things. So why am I acting like I don't? Girl, please. Or I want to be successful. I want to have this business that's absolutely massive and that brings in all this wealth, yes, but also that has all this impact and impacts people's lives for the positive. I want those things. Why am I denying myself a good thing? Those things are good. So then you have to go, okay, if that's what I really want, now I have to intentionally move in that direction. Now I have to take intentional action and change towards that direction, because that's going to give you the momentum to start a different cycle. Yeah, you just have to be intentional about that and ask, truly for me, it has been in prayer, Lord, tell me what I need to do. Show me what's the doing of it and what's the being of it. Lastly, on this aspect of how to actually move forward in a new cycle, because we live our life in cycles, really. And so you have to decide what type of cycle you want to be in. Is it a cycle of sabotage, or is it a cycle of abundance and love and always going back to, what God created you on this earth to do and to be? Last and final way that I do that is having accountability, not only with myself and with God, but with somebody on this planet that I love and that I trust and that I know will always lovingly hold me accountable towards the version of me that God has for me. And this is why iron sharpening iron, baby, okay? Maybe we'll have to have another YouTube video about, building your tribe and really having your circle of people around you. But in the same example I said earlier about Morgan, she is my person. I have a few other people that I use as sounding boards, that I use as accountability partners that hold me accountable. And the thing is, I wonder, there's a verse that talks about accountability. The thing is people don't want to be held accountable to anything because they feel like they're they're again releasing control, or they're allowing somebody else to control you. That's not what that is. See, yes, I still got to look at my verses. Okay. Not everybody can be saints like you. No, I'm just kidding. James 5 says, therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. And so like God calls us to be accountable to each other. You are my brother and sisters in Christ. That is why I create these videos. I'm accountable to you. Me showing up here is me being accountable to you as well. Like this is part of my purpose, is showing up and like doing this right here, right? So that's part of my accountability as well. And people who are of righteous heart and who are connected with God in that way, we don't shy away from accountability. We do not shy away from accountability. And so if you find yourself shying away from accountability, you need to be honest with yourself and ask yourself why. And that's just kind of proof that maybe you're not quite ready for what God has for you. And that's okay. But get it together. But if you're watching this video, then it's highly likely that actually you are ready. You are here. And maybe shying away from accountability is a little bit of, some defense mechanisms coming up. Maybe that's something that we could talk about. And it's just a way that you're trying to protect yourself. It's also a lack of trust in God. And so I hope that this video helped you, because honestly, it helped me talking about it. And it's such a beautiful realization that you actually are so powerful. And in the weakness, like in my weakness of going to God and saying, Lord, I actually don't want this cycle anymore, I am allowing God to show up and be strong for me. I don't have to be the manly man, the masculine, take care of every little thing. I can actually step back into my feminine. I can give it to God and he can take care of it for me. And he could show me the ways that he wants me to go. And I can allow him to lead me in that. With that, I release this to you. I truly, truly, truly pray that this video is something that is super duper helpful for you and that helps you along your path, because you deserve to live a good life. You deserve to have the things that God has put on your heart to have. You just have to decide that you deserve it as well. Okay. And I'll see you on the next one.